Hello, good evening. Welcome once again to Minority Caucus. For us this evening, my voice is that unto the Lord be the glory for the great things that he has done. It's good to be back in the chair, and thanks to all of you for the support that you have given unto us so far. It has been good, and we are grateful to you for all that has gone on. But it is Minority Caucus once again, the platform that the New Patriotic Party uses to advance its argument and its psyche to its supporters. Tonight, we are discussing day 33 of the court case, the Supreme Court petition, challenging the validity of the election of the President of the Republic of Ghana, among other matters. Please stay tuned. I'll take a break, and when I come back, I'll introduce my guest to you for the discussion to begin. Welcome back to Minority Caucus. Now, tonight, as I've already told you, we're discussing matters as relates to the Supreme Court petition, day 33 of it, amongst matters arising. With me in the studios are Mr. Asamoah Gyamfi, a member of the NPP communications team to my immediate left, and then to his immediate left is Salam Mustafa, who is also a member of the NPP communications team. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, first of all, dealing with it along the lines, the president went to church once again, and he made a declaration that it was God that has ordained him as president of the Republic of Ghana. Mr. Asamoah Gyamfi, any comments on that?
I laughed when I heard that, and I felt that, a verse in Hosea 8:14 came to mind.
It's the Holy Bible.
Yes, it says, they set up kings, but he is not of me. So, and people fail to recognize that God himself never imposed anybody or leadership or choose leadership for any generation. It's the people who chooses it. God has given that right to us, right from creation. And that is why, even though there was a tree of life and that of death, he told man to choose the one he wanted. So the generations choose, or the people choose what. But in the case of President Mahama, when I heard him say that, the first thought that comes to mind, every pickpocket, when he gets up in the morning before he gets into the people, pray to God, oh God, let no one catch me picking anybody's pocket. Mm-hmm. And when he picks and gets home, he thanks God for picking the pocket. Okay? So until and unless the eminent judges conclude on the true verdict of this election, I cannot see him or his leadership as that of the one chosen by God. Because even one want to check it as against the wish of the people are in court, and the people of Ghana are expecting to hear what the courts will say. Because I see he takes it as a miracle that he used 40 days to campaign, and he won. Indeed, if you are given the power and you can recklessly within 3 months, without the authority or the endorsement of the people, that's Parliament, you go and borrow over 8.7 billion Ghana cedis and spend it in 3 months. It's equal to going to steal from your father's, wardrobe to go and spend in school. Okay? Because even though the money is meant for you, the condition was that you should ask your father. But you decide to break it. And that's exactly what happened in 2008. The lavish expenditure. And there's no one single evidence to show in this country in the form of infrastructure or any social intervention that was done. Right? And so, clearly, if indeed he claims that he won it by stealing from the people to buy the people's vote.
Okay, now let's just hold on. Let me move to Salam. Salam, how do you make of this claim by the president that he has been ordained by God, bearing in mind the fact that in court we are being told that errors actually did determine who the president is today?
Nana Kofi, first of all, let me say good evening to our viewers. Well, when I heard of this statement, I asked myself which God is he referring to, because there are so many gods. So probably we might have to interrogate, or he might have to come back to tell us which God he's referring to. Because if he's going to say it is the Almighty God that has put him there. That smacks of blasphemy for me, because he do not clearly engage in acts of subversion and then attribute it to God that has given it to you. Then I don't know what he's trying to impugn. Look, if a thief, like my senior colleague was saying, goes to steal, when he comes home, he first of all thanks, God for the luck, for the luck that he's able to steal and comes home without any incident or being caught. So it's much ado about nothing. For me, I think that the president is clutching on to straws. Clearly, what he's trying to do is muddy the waters for the Supreme Court. I think that's just all that he's trying to do. Other than that, there's nothing, for the want of better word, sensible in what he's throwing out today.
All right. Now, talking about muddying the waters, several statements have been made by key members of the NDC, including Mr. Gabi Assuming, who said that if the Supreme Court declares that Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo is president, there will be a civil war in this country. People like Mr. Bernard Morna have also gone to town to say that the Supreme Court cannot declare who the president of Ghana should be. We've had people like Dr. Clement Apak, who have also gone out there in an attempt to poison the atmosphere with ethnic sentiment by saying that we are in court contesting the validity of President Mahama because he's a Northerner. When you put all of these statements together, do you agree with the notion that the NDC is trying to create fertile grounds for serious dissent and chaos in this country should the Supreme Court decide against them?
Precisely so, but it's an act of bootlicking, to be very honest, because if you see these personalities who have gone viral, throwing all sort of nonsense in the system, clearly you find out that it's a bootlicking exercise that they are, chatting. Look, what do you call him? Kakra Asamoah sat on air and said that he will support a coup d'etat if Akufo-Addo is declared winner. Then, not long ago, I think somewhere last week, Gabi Assuming, a communicator of the NDC, says with impunity that there will be civil war if the petition goes the way of the petitioners. Clearly, they are trying to force a certain mindset in their supporters that will not accept the results, or better still, intimidate the judges to toe the NDC line. But what they forget is that we are all one people and we can equally throw such vetoops in the system to pollute it. But as responsible as we are, we will not go out making reckless statements. But let it be put that we, the MPP, would resist every single attempt to intimidate the MPP or even try to, subvert our cause. If we win, and when we win, if the petition goes our way, nobody can do anything otherwise. Or in this country, when His Excellency the President was declared winner of the elections, when we feel peeved and thought that the election was marred with fraud, we didn't take to violence. We went to the courts, believing that that is the civil way to handle issues. We didn't choose the other option, which probably was available to us, which would have been more expensive, that by now this country would have been in tatters. But for the love of this country, for the betterment of all of us, we decided to use a very civil channel to advance our cause and landed ourselves in the Supreme Court. That's how a civil group behaves. But when you behave like some typical people of a certain brand who are lawless and acephalous in nature, garrulous, and would not submit to the rule of law, this is how they behave. But nonetheless, it doesn't scratch us a little bit. We are not, in any way intimidated by these nonsensical comments. No, in any way. And I don't think that it has any potential of prejudicing any judge and probably making them succumb to pressure whatsoever.
Okay.
We continue to believe in the rule of law, and we will work within the remits of the law in addressing our grievances. But let no one take that for weakness and think that they can run over us anytime they want. It's not just possible.
Okay, Mr. Samajif, your take on that, the contemptuous statements that are being made.
You see, the NDC, from the attitude, he see clearly that their case is getting weaker by weaker, particularly as the response of Dr. Farijan, demonstrated in court. How can the law says that you must gazette the total number of registered voters at the High Court before you go into an election? You go and gazette a little over 30 million and tell the court that is the figure for which you are going to enter into the elections with, and then you declare it in 14 million. They ask you in court why you say that is a mistake. That's a clear violation. You understand? Another thing, it is in a regulation that it is not allowed, okay, to have a ballot that is unstamped. If it is unstamped, it has to be rejected. It is in the law. Dr. Farijan says that, no, if he's a presiding officer and there is an unmarked, ballot paper, it can be added on. So clearly, they see it in their face, okay? That he also goes to confirm that every single questionnaire on the pink sheet has to be responded to or filled timeously. If you fail to do that, it's an irregularity. You understand? And Sidin Ketia also tells the court, though, as for that the filling of the form, it is never done. It is always done. It is always done after.
Throwaway politics.
Throwaway politics. So clearly, they see it, and so they want to move to prepare the people's mind. They began by, I think 2 weeks ago, there was a so-called coalition that held a press conference. You remember?
Yeah.
Which setting up, preparing the people's mind, telling the people that no, they were the first to have said it's God who gave us President Mahama, and that Nanado was not qualified. They tried preparing people's mind. So all of these things is preparing people's mind towards a defeat, and then they could react. It's as simple as that. Gabi did not only say that. You know what they've been saying? That no court has ever overturned an election.
Which is false.
That is what Gabi said. And for that matter,
assuming
Gabi said that no court in this world has ever turned...
Absolute ignorance.
Have never turned an elections. But for the information of people listening to us, I can give them the situation of Thailand, when they realized that the incumbent government manipulated the election and declared itself winner. The court overturned the results and banned that party and asked that the election be done at Thaksin Shinawatra. He's now languishing, I think, in what do you call it, Philippines or Indonesia. He cannot even come into... If he lands in the country today, Thailand today, you go to jail. His party was abolished. Okay? We have Ukraine. A similar thing happened.
Even close by Nigeria.
Close by Nigeria. Governorship elections, after they've been in office for 2 years, were asked to step down. You see,
even in the presidential, it happened.
It happened.
Where over 1 million votes were annulled.
No, but the fact of that, the vote difference, the vote difference was so huge. You understand? So for heaven's sake, they should stop spewing that ignorance in the bait that Ghanaians will buy it. The most sad thing is Dr. Park trying to whip tribal sentiments. And you see, this is also in a way to preparing our brothers in the North mind. And so you see, look at the Kambunga, they don't like the Northerners. That's what they say. But that is not true. The fact of the case is that the Supreme Court, by the wisdom of the framers of our Constitution, anticipated that we could have a day like this. And when we have a day like this, instead of going out to shoot ourselves, the Supreme Court should act as the arbiter. Now, if the Supreme Court do not have the power to do any pronouncement, how does the Constitution give them that power to sit on the matter?
Sit on the matter.
You understand? So
interesting. Those individuals that have turned themselves into interpreters of our Constitution have tried to get into the faculty of law several times and failed.
It really amazes me that, people who should know better engage in such pedestrian argument. that the Supreme Court doesn't have power to do this. The Supreme Court doesn't have power to do that. In our Constitution, we have 3 arms of government: the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. Indeed, the power vested in the Supreme Court is well overwhelming, that they are the custodians of the laws of Ghana. And that's why whatever the Supreme Court says is final. That's what we call the Supreme Court. Whatever they say is final. What strikes me and beats my thinking, why any right-thinking person of sound mind would believe that the Supreme Court can actually uphold the results but cannot overturn it.
Yeah, illogical.
That's a senseless thinking anybody anywhere can push.
Okay.
So APAC and Bernard Mona can continue spewing the ignorance to a very unsuspecting supporters. We do not care. We would make sure that we put the truth out there for people to get to know that the Supreme Court has the power to overturn the results, has the power to order a re-election, has the power to do anything they want. They are the custodians of power, in this country.
And we here on Minority Caucus would want to make an appeal to the 9 justices of the Supreme Court that these matters must be commented on. We applaud them for their comments on the Daily Guide matters, among others. And we appeal to them that we consider this to be a matter of national security and of grave importance for the security of this country. Because if we are also to go on that line of making pronouncements and preparing the minds of our supporters against an eventuality that the case does not go in our favor, the amount of chaos that will be unleashed, the anarchy that will come onto this country, we don't deserve to have that. The 9 justices of the Supreme Court, we implore you, please speak on this matter as well, and let's ensure that sanity prevails in our system. After all, we have just one Ghana. Now let's come back to the matters of what happened today in the Supreme Court. The KPMG report was laid before the Supreme Court was tendered in evidence, and then there were 1 or 2 issues. The petitioners asked for some time to review the details. Mr. Samuel Jemfi, how did you see that?
Well, it went well. I really anticipated that. But if you look at it, the court's position was that this report was occasioned in consensus. That's all the parties decided that it should go to KPMG. And so if the president of the court was of the view that there wasn't a need for KPMG to be in the witness box to tender it. But Chachu, in his normal, I call it tinty position, insisted that the man should be in the witness box and tender the document in. That was done. And the position was that the petitioners felt that, in fact, even Chachu Chikata himself felt that there was a need to have some time to review it because they got it just this morning. So the petitioners felt, okay, if we could give you some days, But the court felt that no, it should be, 1.5 days, okay? That is they should have virtually, I think, Wednesday, tomorrow, to go through it. But what really beat my imagination is that it looks like the NDC have a phobia for technology. You remember that when this case started, Baumia kept on saying that you can make reference to the CD-ROM. No, we don't want CD-ROM, They wanted to even do a presentation of it. They were the first to kick against, no, we don't want a presentation. Everything that has got to do with technology, and that is the NDC for you. They themselves went into the World Bank and requested for a loan to do a fast-track court project, okay? Monies have been secured, buildings have been built, infrastructure provided for the thing to go. Chachu Chiketa goes to court to seek, Supreme Court to seek an interpretation that they cannot be fast-track high court. Our laws, our courts cannot be computerized. Funnily enough, if that he got a first victory and there was a review on it, assuming that there were no review, every day at the close of court, they get a printout of the proceedings. Would they have had that if the computer was not there? I wish that he should bow his head in shame anytime he goes to request for a printout. Because if the judges were writing in longhand, it would have taken much longer. Yeah. It would take a much longer time for the stenographer to type, give it to the judge to read through, do corrections before it is given. This case would have been dragging. But by the insistence of President Kufuor in seeking for a review, our courts are computerized. The Supreme Court is computerized. And immediately after the close of court rises, barely 1 hour, you get a printout of the proceedings. But they have a phobia for it. They haggled over it. But it looks like, we had no choice but to accept it because KPMG's policy is that they don't give out soft copies. And I think the justices did not want to, let them break their own rule. But I believe that...
That is even contentious.
Yes, of course, it's contentious, but once it's a corporate policy and it's an international organization, the people here cannot be burdened to break that, corporate policy. And so that is it. But I believe that we are capable of going, our team is capable of going through whatever there is and raise whatever issues, if there will be any, on this matter.
Okay, if you hold on for me, I'll go to Salam. Salam, NDC and soft copy technology in general. Once again, it was Mr. Tony Soft Copy Letha who had issues with the issuance of a soft copy.
Well, when they started raising objections, I mean, it was clear that these are people who do not wish to, move forward. I mean, clearly they are stuck in the backwards of time. I'm sure you are very much aware that even in presenting the evidence to the courts, we added a soft copy, and they are all probably scared of using the soft copy. Other than that, all this mambo jumbo wouldn't be occurring in court because the whole data is on a CD and it's very much accessible. But very usual of them, typically backward thinking, they have stuck to the old ways of doing stuff. And when you mention ways of technology, they begin to run for cover. I don't see the fuss about asking for a soft copy to be made available, for easier scrutiny. I don't understand the difficulty with that.
Well, but obviously the NDC does tend to have a lot more issues.
Is it that
whenever there is technology?
Tony Letha doesn't know what a soft copy is? How? And the argument that it can be transmogrified is sickening. It's childish, weak, unsustainable. How can all of us have copies of a document and I pick hard copies of it and I pick a soft copy and I can transmogrify it, change it,
you can refer
whilst
to
there are other copies of it
in this particular light, they forgot about the so-called control set, which will be under lock and key.
It begs some thinking.
Anyway, but Mr. Asamoah, the NPP has said that we feel vindicated by the KPMG report. Several newspapers and online websites have also carried exactly a position on that. What exactly is the position of the NPP when it comes to the KPMG report?
The petitioners have always stated in court that they presented 11,842 pink sheets in evidence, okay? But the NDC or the respondents have always tried to make you and credit. It is the second petitioner's position that even surprises me. This is
second
respondent whose position surprises me. You were served the first instance. You rejected it because you said they were not up. On what basis did you say they were not up? Until you had the full complements of the exhibits, right? The registrar goes and supplies that to you. You receive it and say that yes, you have it. Now it is time for the case to go on. You're making issues. You've come to side with the first and third respondents, saying that you don't have. Okay, but I'm very confident to say that per the information in the report, in the draft report, what I believe has been same that have been replicated in the report, the respondents submitted 11,842 pink sheets. In fact, it's at 11,848. It's even a little more. A little more pink sheets. Okay. Now, people are a bit scared when they hear. What really happened is this: that when they counted the registrar's copy, okay, they had 13,926 pink sheets. But the court also instructed that they should arrange them in the various categories, okay, and in various exhibit numbers, okay. And in doing that, they define what they call the unique pink sheets, that is pink sheets that are not duplicated. Okay, now they ended up getting 10,333 unique pink sheets. These are pink sheets that are in their various unique positions, as presented in the feta and beta particulars. And then there was a duplicate of 3,593. Okay, and we all will remember during the cross-examination of Dr. Baume, he kept saying that there's a possibility that there could be duplicate pink sheets. So this also went to what do you call it? Confirm that. Now, what is really, which I believe the NDC is excited about, is that of Justice Atuguba that was meant to be used as control measure is less. Okay, it's about 9,860
unique pink sheets.
Unique pink sheets.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, for that matter, it means that we are we are less, about 2,800 less.
1,800 from the calculation.
Yes, 1,800 less. Okay, and so if that is the case, then we really have a case to answer. That's their position. But you see, thank God that the Atugubas or the presidents of the courts or the presiding judges' copies were counted. Because the unique thing is that it ended up showing that there are pink sheets, okay, that are in Atuguba's or Atuguba's copy, okay, that are not in the registrar's copy. Okay, and if you look at it, it is about 871 pink sheets, okay, that are in Atuguba's copy but are not in the registrar's copy. And there are some that in the registrar's copy that is also not in Atuguba's copy.
So there was a mix-up.
There was a mix-up. You understand? Then when you come to the respondents during their cross-examination, okay, the three of them, okay, submitted about 4,000 pink sheets, to Dr. Baumia, during their cross-examination. And in that, we had 1,079 pink sheets.
Unique pink
sheets.
That are not
that are also not in the court's, the registrar's own, and that of Atuguba's own. You understand? So if you do all the extrapolations, okay, it as we speak, okay, we have, 11,540. Okay. Now, if you pick that of the MBP series, one of the boxes, which is in Atuguba's, that has not been counted, but it was submitted late from Atuguba's office. Okay, you are going to get 648. So if you add up that one, okay, to all of that, the petitioners presented 11,852 pink sheets. Okay, but they are only going to depend on 11,138 for the. So the NDC strategy is simple. You had Segbefia 2 weeks or 2 Saturdays ago. As soon as the report of that of Atuguba came and said, "Oh, if that of Atuguba is far less than that, then the case should be thrown out." They really want to latch on that. Okay, that we came to confuse the court. We were not prepared. And then we really, juggled up pink sheets as evidence to come and confuse the court. But the fact of the case is that all of these documents were presented to the court, right? They were not something that was brought from outside. That of Justice Atuguba was given to them by the registrar. Is that not it?
Yeah.
That of the respondents was given to them by the registrar. So it could be that in the course of distributing this, there was a mixer. And it's a normal course in court, if you've been to court. Okay? Normal. There are instances where even the photocopies are made. If they cannot find, what do you call it?
The originals.
The originals. Photocopies are made and you are told to go to the register to sign on it, and then it is presented. So clearly, there is much ado about nothing. Okay? And I believe that Wednesday, when this matter is what do you call it, is raised, I believe that it will be settled once and for all.
Okay.
That is how I see it.
Coming to you, Salam, what do you make of this entire attempt to drum up this entire pink sheet count matter, that they were wrong, they tried to deceive the court, is in bad faith, all of that, obviously, evidently, from what has become known from the KPMG camp. There is no case. But the respondents are trying so hard.
You know what amazes me? Those lawyers know very well that it is not the responsibility of the petitioners to serve evidence on the respondents. They know very well that anything that you are bringing to court, you take it to the registrar, and it is the responsibility of the registrar to, serve evidence, whatever, on people within the litigation. And therefore, the attempt, and especially when I heard Segbefia, I was really gobsmacked because of a lawyer who rose to become a deputy, chief of staff,
and then he was also crown prosecutor in UK.
Can you imagine? Would not know this, that it's not the duty of the respondent? Why, to the extent that they have even been allowed to raise this issue in court, shocks some of us who probably are not even lawyers, because common, trial procedure will tell you that it is the registry that you pick, staffs from, and not from, you come and demand it from the court or the petitioners or plaintiff whatsoever. Like they have said, it is their strategy, okay? But it's a very flawed strategy because it cannot work. Just that they have been allowed a leeway by some benevolent, causes within the court, and they are making a very, very, a bad use of it. Other than that, I don't think that this all hue and cry would have arisen if the right channel and procedure were followed. Okay. It would have been cleared. But let's make the point that it is not even the number of pink sheets that is important in the matter. Indeed, I have said that time without number, we need just 154,000 votes to get President John Mahama
1,500 pink sheets.
Or 1,500 pink sheets.
Averagely.
Yes, yeah. Just that. And just 3,500 pink sheets to get Nana Addo
as president.
Okay. So now, all the rest, we just wanted to make the point that indeed we have the numbers. If they cannot vitiate the numbers, they should forget this, trajectory that they are charted. It's just much ado about that, as my big brother said.
Okay. Now, before we open the phone lines, I want to tell you that we intended to discuss other matters. The judgment debt scandals that have come among others. There are also issues that have to do with the former Ministry of Women's and Children's Affairs and some court matters that have been revealed by a study that we have before us, among a variety of issues. But as has become normal with the NDC, the scandals are too much that there is not enough time to comment on all of these. And so for now, we'll just go ahead and open the phone lines, and then we'll wrap up with comments from my guests that have to do with the matters of Amidu and Waterville Isofuton. But in the meantime, you can join the discussion on 030-2211-701-324. I'll repeat the phone lines as I always do. 030-2211-701-324. The text lines, as always, remain 1760 all networks. 1760 all networks. Join us and let your views be known. But Mr. Asamoah Gyamfi, Isofuton, and then Waterville. First of all, this very interesting attempt by the NDC to all of a sudden claim Martin Amido as one of their own and to share in his success. What do you find?
Oh, that is typical of the NDC for you. It is a party who can see a white paper and still like the people of Ghana to believe that it's black. Okay, and that's their position. Where was the NDC when Martin Amido was being vilified? Did Asiedun Ketia or anybody ever issued a statement and saying, look, one of the pillars of the NDC is that we believe in probity and accountability. And if one of our own is taking up our government on it, we shall allow him. Did they ever make that statement?
They actually took him on and took him to the cleaners. I have researched and found articles that said Mr. Martin Amido is the worst attorney general ever. Yes. People like Felix Kwachi of Fusum, Ibrahim Mutala Mohammed, and all of them took him to the cleaners and actually dressed him very well.
The man decides that, look, he sees the government is not committed to stop this, to retrieve this daylight robbery of the people's coffers. For that matter, he would take it up and go to court on it. Now suddenly the AG says that we helped him.
Which he has denied.
Suddenly, they helped him. Now, if indeed you knew that there was a case, why didn't Benku take Waterville to court? You know that it is only that of Oyome on this whole judgment that is in court, and this is because we in the opposition really, put President Mills' feet to the fire. And
another interesting fact about this entire thing is that Mr. Martin Amidu remains the only minister that has been dismissed over the last 4 years of the NDC administration.
Yes.
He's the only person that has been dismissed.
Anybody.
Interestingly, some persons who have been implicated, even by Iyoko investigations, have rather been elevated in terms of position.
Yeah.
I refer to Mr. Ebo Barton Odro, who has been elevated from just a minister in the government, the deputy minister in the government, to a first deputy speaker of parliament. There are others that have been mentioned that have been given the leeway to operate as well. We remember Mrs. Betty Modidrisu, who, though was mentioned specifically by the Yoko report, was allowed to resign on her own and is not facing any form of prosecution whatsoever in this country. Remember some civil servants that were also clearly mentioned in the report as having soiled their hands in this scandal, and they are still at post. Intelligence gathering also suggests that one of them is actually fighting very hard, lobbying to be appointed Solicitor General in this country. Meanwhile, Mr. Martin Amidu is the only minister that has been sacked from the NDC government
for fighting for the truth or standing for the truth. Anybody who really, the people who orchestrated this, who supervised it, who allowed it to go on, are still in post or are benefiting or have benefited from their booty. And it goes to confirm, in the minds of President Mills, he felt that it is not the benefactors that matters, but it is those who caused it. Okay? So these ones are the benefactors. To them, you see, the most cruel thing why the NDC paid out these free monies was that, look, let's pay these monies so we can go, we use that as a basis, okay, to arrest MPP appointees and prosecute them for causing financial loss. That was the rationale. You understand? Because that of Waterville had no basis whatsoever. It had no basis whatsoever. And indeed, they were fighting among themselves before you, the Attorney General.
The Attorney General.
Then suddenly they become one. They sign an MOU. Then when it is paid, I will take that. You will take that.
And look at the peculiar, instance of isophotem, that a junior minister can actually pick a phone and call a senior minister
without reference to his substantive,
without recourse to any standard, and try to impress upon him to pay.
When you know that the Attorney General then had decided that Ghana had a case and there was a need, they were going to fight it.
Okay.
Their own professional group.
You hold on for me at this moment and would allow Dennis to join the discussion. Dennis, welcome. Dennis, do we have you on the line?
Hello, this is Felix.
Okay.
Good evening, Anna.
Good evening, Chief.
I just want to comment on what Dr. Park and Mona said. I believe that as much as Nana believes in democracy, I think even if Mahama was his brother, he would still have challenged his legitimacy in court. So they should spare us this tribal politics and let us see what the Supreme Court has for us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have Bizwa on the line. How are you doing, my senior?
Yeah. Nana, how are you too?
By grace, we are well.
Okay. I'm greeting your panelists and the whole Ghana as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nana, you know what? I can believe that NDC, they are just beating about the bush. Yes. I mean it, and I will say it. Because what they are doing, I don't understand. But for the pink sheet, I think by God's grace, Wednesday, better things will come out.
Okay.
And the Martin Amidu's case, you see, Okujato and Co, they are just beating about the bush too, and even I feel sorry for them. Because Okujato told the whole Ghana that we have no case.
Yeah.
God forgive us.
God forgive us indeed. I have Smiler from the Indy. Smiler, how are you doing? Oh, unfortunately, I think I've lost Smiler on that line, so I'll come back to my studio discussants. We are getting to that point where impunity and a lack of transparency is allowing corruption to take roots in this country.
Are we getting there or we are there?
We are there.
I'm being quite moderate.
It's institutionalized.
You see, if you look,
Blessed.
if you look at the Waterville thing,
Okay.
From the head.
you know what the judge said.
Let me take George from Salaga. George, how are you doing? Hello, George.
You have a president who himself, the president.
Hello?
Yeah, George, how are you doing?
Boss act that he should be investigated.
And thank you.
Okay, you have the floor.
This Admuda online.
Okay, Admunda, how are you doing? Sorry,
Thank you, Nana. I want to thank you very much for this opportunity. One thing, there are some two things that are bothering me. My first question is what you raised. You see that the Supreme Court, sometimes I feel disappointed because there are certain comments that are being made that are contentious, but we don't see the bench calling certain people to order. But specific instances are being mentioned, like Daily Guide. I don't know for. And let's also go back to the KPMG report. I think that the KPMG report has indicated us. Some people were saying that we filed 8,000 pinches. Now it has been clear that we filed even 10,000 plus unique pinches, and the justices, the president's own too, is 9,000. We now know who are the people who can tell lies, who are not truthful, and who can peddle falsehood out. Now the thing is clear. So I am very happy that these things are being brought on board for the whole Ghanaian public to hear and listen to. With that, we know that we are going to win this case no matter what happens. Bernard Mona and his cohorts can do whatever they like. They can go to the sky and come down. Whatever the Supreme Court says will what is going to be enforced in this country. Nobody can dictate for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you too very much for your call, Ademuda. I have another caller on the line. Are you there?
Yeah, Nana.
Yes, sir, Senior. Please, your name
Yeah,
and
good
where you're
evening.
calling me from. Good evening, Chief.
Yeah, this is Kamal from Morgan Atlantic.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, all Atlantic members are greeting.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
Nana.
Yes, sir.
You see, with regards to the statement being made by the president yesterday, you see, I would deem that statement as an unfortunate statement. How can you, a good president, whose leg is good killing, went to an occasion, instead of you to center mark on what you are going to say on that particular occasion that you are being invited to, then for you to now say, oh, it's God who ordains you. You are doing ordained by God. The will of the people was overturned. Nobody ordains you as the president of the Republic of Ghana here. To overturn the will of the people. If you have the president who can use almost 6.16 or 6.6 billion to rig an election and conspire with Abdullah to legislation in favor of him. Now you have to go to tell us that you have been ordained by God. You in the first place. Who that you have not have a message. Then decided he settled on message again. That he was having a message that his opponents do not understand, and up to date they are not still understand that message. What was the message? The message that you could even disseminate to the Ghanaian people was that you are going around distributing vibes.
Okay.
With the Ghana Street and so on. You will never have anything. Somebody was there, Nana Dudoko was having a nice message, telling the Ghanaian people that, well, you put me to know, or you give me the power. What I'm going to do is that the free education that you are promised of will be executed. Then again, the Bongo Fan, and a lot of things. And the message is that.
Thank you very much. But unfortunately, I would have to catch you at this stage so that my next caller can also have a chance. I apologize very much. I wish we had time so I could allow you to speak, but I'm very sorry. Please forgive me for that. My next caller is on the line. How are you? Hello?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Chief. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, sir.
Okay. Your name and where you're calling me from?
Moro.
Yes, sir.
You people, you've made my day. Thank you for doing a better job for the MPP.
Thank you.
As for NDC and their communicators, what we want them to know is that we are ready for them. No matter what they do, they will say we are ready for them. We as people in MPP, we know that we've won the election. But look at what Africa and his people are doing. Eh? Tell the truth and be free. And they don't want to tell the truth. But inshallah, no matter what,
the court will turn this election for NPP. Akufo-Addo will become president by the grace of Almighty God. Okay. By 2 months, I bet you people, 2 months later, you people should.
Okay.
So I have nothing to say.
Thank you very much for your call. We are very grateful to you for the time that you've spent to address all of Ghana. Salam, your closing comments on these matters, that corruption is becoming endemic in Ghana. How do we deal with it? But, okay, I have a last call, Amor. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Okay, can you make it snappy for me? Thank you.
Hello, Nana.
Yes, sir.
Hello, Nana.
Can you please turn down the volume on your set, and then let's make this snappy. We are running out of time. Hello?
I'm calling from Walewale.
Okay, nice to hear you. You have the floor.
Hello?
Oh, Goro, how are you doing? Okay, thank you very much, but unfortunately we're having challenges. Salam, let's make it snappy. We've run almost out of time. But the issue of corruption and the impunity with which it is being done across the length and breadth of this country.
Yes. Nana Kofi, when the head of a fish is rotten, don't expect anything better at the top, at the bottom. Don't expect. We're having a president today who, when was vice, his boss had cause to ask that he should be investigated over deals he had cut. That is the problem. That is the crust of the matter. That the head itself is not good. Okay? Look at this Embraer jet deal that, you know, he went to cut. Just 2 months before we made provisions to buy the Embraer, Air Astana went to buy the same jet for $40 million. Then we were buying the jet at $80 million. So it means we were buying two for the price of one. Who was the money for the other one going to? That is the problem we are facing today. A rotten leadership, fickle-minded leadership that is interested in filling and lining their pockets than using the money to solve the myriads of problems that confront the thousands of people who are languishing in poverty in Ghana. Okay. That is where our problem lies.
Thank you very much.
The whole problem is leadership.
Thank you very much. Mr. Asamoah for your closing comments.
Clearly, the government have shown that it's not committed. They really came to create loot and share. And this is evident by the court's ruling. What real effort has the government put in place to retrieve that Waterville's money? Tell me.
We're waiting to see.
Last week, they said that, we've put in an application to get a copy of the ruling so we can enforce the law. When Yoko came with a draft report,
2 years down the line, final is not.
No, on the day they brought the report, the morning that they submitted the report to Professor Mills, they deliberate televised the thing on GTV for people to see. The following day, William was well late in the middle of the road, Hollywood style, right?
Yeah.
Is that what that was? Even a draft report, which in legal basis it didn't have a foundation. You know that you can't act on a draft report,
okay?
Because subject to amendments. They acted on it.
Thank you.
In the case of Waterville, because they created and looted and shared, it has benefited everywhere like a butter on a bread. They don't want to act.
Okay. For us, this cabal that created, looted, and shared is still out there. But we know that we are under the rock, and the rock is higher than I. Jehovah hides us, and he hides us under the rock. Go and tell our enemies that we are under the rock. Surely the battle continues to remain the Lord's. My name is Nana Kofi Opondamo. Good evening and good night.